Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Checked Before. This time, the Practical Joker, yeah! Get ready to laugh if you didn't already when you watched it. The Practical Joker. Speaking of jokes, life's gummy, yeah! From the minds of Nikki tells you how to live your life, Nikki Smith. And It's All Been Done Radio Hours, Jerome Wetzel, comes a new weekly photo comic called Life's Gummy, yeah! It's like the photo novels they used to do at the Trek shows, except they're brand new. Every Saturday, read a new strip at IABD Presents.com. Follow the tribe of gummy bears on their adventures as they navigate the jungle of a living room, seek our wise elders at the top of the couch, and forage for food on a messy desk. All of our programming can be found at IABDpresents.com, and please support us. $1, you're helping, you're getting rewards. $1, where do you do that? How do you help us? Patreon.com/IABD. We're mostly podcasts. We got that YouTube channel. Check that out. While you're thinking of YouTube, it's like TV. They called it the boob tube. Nobody calls that anymore because they don't use those tubes. But you know what they do? They still call it TV. Jerome's TV reviews for 10 years and through more than 2,500 reviews. Jerome Wetzel has reviewed scripted television. He covers dramas, comedies, broadcast, cable, and even streaming networks, often reviewing the shows before they air. Guess what? He's the chief television critic, Seat42f.com, and a contributor to Blog Critics Magazine. Head on over to IABDpresents.com. Check that out. And right now, check out the Practical Joker on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Back with the skeleton crew this week.
This is Steven.
Jimmy-Jerome. We're here to talk about the episode with the Practical Joker.
The Practical Joker.
A second episode in a row. Keith is going to be sorry he missed.
I think so.
I mean, the first one we had the alien cloud.
Yep.
This one, I think he would have been really excited to talk about the holodeck.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yep. Yes, we will.
But first impressions.
It was fun.
It was fun until that terrible ending.
The ending, the blow line was terrible.
I don't mean the blow line. I mean the way they solved the problem.
Oh, just by going back through the energy field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it did the same thing on the Romulans, even though it's a totally different type of show.
Yeah.
Just fly through your energy field and turns your computer on and off.
It was kind of tribbles. It was kind of like, oh, we're having trouble with these tribbles. Oh, at the end, I did not mean to do that. Keith's going to enjoy that I just said the name of the episode. We're having trouble with these tribbles, and so we just beam them on the Klingon ship, and now it's funny. Same here. It's like, oh, we had all these troubles. Oh, it's funny now that's happening to them.
Now, see, that I don't mind.
It's
the logic of the cloud that makes no sense.
Well, I wrote down as soon as they went into the energy field, it's Mutara Nebula. Yeah. Because they were able to escape the Romulans.
There was an interesting visual, though. The visual that we got of the space as the ships went in was very different than what was on the view screen of both ships.
I noted that the second time they went through because it looked like the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, it was real weird.
It was very like...
But it was on both, Romulan and the Enterprise.
Yeah, so...
I mean, I think it's definitely makes sense that something might interact with the visual receptors of the Enterprise differently than we would see it in space. And I think it's a cool effect. I'm not sure it was on purpose, but I think it was a cool effect.
Yeah, it was different, and obviously the best Nebula effect ever is in Wrath of Khan. But
sure,
yeah,
the Mutara Nebula.
Soon to come.
And also in that Voyager episode where they revisit Star Trek VI. Yeah, I mean, there's been some cool nebulas. But yeah, this was an interesting one.
Yeah. As people have listened to the original series, listen to this series, I love the Romulans. Mm-hmm. I wish there were more Romulans, and I especially love the Birds of Prey. And I don't understand why the animated series can't do the Birds of Prey.
I mean, to be fair, wasn't there an episode of the original series where they were in the Klingon Birds of Prey?
Yeah, there was. That's why
canon fits.
But that was also because the guy destroyed the original Bird of Prey model.
But they could do the other Bird of Prey. If they wanted to. They could draw either one.
That's what I'm saying,
But they'd already drawn the Klingon Birds of Prey for a previous episode.
Of course.
What I didn't like about the Birds of Prey was the one shot where two of them are kind of angled up and one was angled down. That was fine, because, we like when they go off a plane.
Yeah.
But then when they were chasing the Enterprise, they took that static shot, and all three of them moved in one direction, including the one that was pointed down.
Yeah.
That looked real bad.
Yeah.
We also got... This is... I know we're really deep into the series, and maybe I should have talked about this earlier. That shot of space where the Enterprise slowly enters the frame. It's that same shot that every single episode. Every single episode.
Every episode.
I'm really kind of sick of it. Give us a different shot.
Yep.
Oh, real quick on the Romulans. That commander, he looked a lot like Spock. They drew him very Nimoy-esque.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm sure they just took the same... They just traced over a Spock drawing.
Made him look a little different.
Yeah.
The only opportunity we have for fashion is the Romulans, I guess.
Fashion. Again.
They wear uniforms.
I love the Romulan uniforms. We know I do.
Same one we're used to.
Yeah. I love the Romulan uniforms. And I know I love the Romulans because one, Balance of Terror, which I think is one of the best episodes.
Agreed.
Enterprise Incident, also one of the best episodes of...
It's good.
One of the better episodes, I should say.
Bounce of Terror is better.
Oh, yeah, by leaps and bounds. And I also love Joanne Linville in the Enterprise Incident. So,
I mean, Romulans have played a heavy part in Nemesis in 2009's that, like, they're the bridge between the two
that's true, yeah.
timelines.
Yeah.
The Romulans were voiced by producers, uncredited producers. I wrongly said last week that there were no Romulans, but Norm Prescott and Lou Scheimer, who both also, they're mainly producers, but they both also voiced other things in this animated series. Lou did Aquan Harvester and Lemus in the Ambergris element. And he'll also be a Dramian guard in Albatross, which is coming up.
All right.
And then Norman voiced the Orion Lieutenant, Orion Ensign in Pirates of Orion. So I guess with as small as they were, let's just grab our producers again. We don't need to pay anybody. And Jimmy does enough voices. We don't need him to do more.
In lieu of that, that's a good idea. I wrote and this is not an insult, I wrote they sound like insurance salesmen because it sounds like they're sitting in a cubicle somewhere like, hey, buddy, how was your weekend? Oh, it was pretty good. How was yours? Which I guess is maybe okay.
I liked them better as the other aliens, though. I feel like the Romulans, they didn't sound like Romulans. They sounded very casual.
And I love my Romulans.
Yeah, they needed some Romulan stuff.
Scotty calls them Romulan vultures.
I mean...
And I love immediately in the episode, like, Kirk's like, oh, it's the Romulans. Spock tells Kirk it's the Romulans. And Kirk's like, Scotty, what's going on out there? And immediately Scotty's like, oh, it's those Romulans. Let's get them. It's like, how does he already know? Maybe it's an open channel all the time.
Maybe there's a window in engineering.
Maybe there is.
I mean, when you look at the ship, there's
I guess
windows
it makes
lots of places.
sense. How did he know they weren't Klingons?
Well, Spock knew immediately they were Romulans.
I guess they would know
energy signature.
I guess they would know which
he
area
saw
they were
the name of their
to.
ship on the outside, and it was written in Romulan script instead of Klingon script.
Yeah, I guess it would make, if you thought you were near the Romulan zone, it would make more sense. You assume the Romulan.
That's true.
So I'll give them that. But
yeah, they invaded the
there wouldn't be Klingons going through the Lama Zone to get into the Federation zone.
I mean, they could be, but probably
they could.
Not. I mean, if you hear hoofbeats and you're where there's lots of horses, you're going to think horses, not zebras.
This is true.
Though, if you're where there's lots of zebras, you should be thinking zebras, not horses.
Exactly.
So that old saying is reversible.
Yeah, I think so. You mentioned the holodeck. This is the first, called the Rec Room, but this is the first holodeck.
In Star Trek, yes. Yeah. So I got a whole bunch of notes about the holodeck, so let's talk about that for a while.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Obviously, Next Gen will pick this up on a more regular basis. Yeah. And theirs looks different. It has the yellow lines. DS9 and Voyager and everybody will use it a lot, too. Yeah.
The Orville.
The Orville has a couple episodes. Obviously, Enterprise and Discovery shot themselves in the foot by being prequels and not able to use it. Yes. But that's okay. So they mentioned they had an off hour and they were going to the holodeck. You heard this off hour. So they get like an hour break in the middle of the day? I guess so. I would hate that. Yeah. I'm very much like I just want to get my shift over.
Straight through, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to take an hour off. That's lame. The console remains. Yeah. But they lost it at some point. Yeah. Even though it's a
I thought that was funny.
I was trying to figure out the rules of this holodeck. Because they talk about if you travel long enough in one direction, you're going to reach a wall. Which by next gen times, that won't happen because there's like little miniature tractor beams and stuff that move you. And so you won't notice, but you can keep walking and walking and walking.
Well, they improved upon it.
Right. But the wall is a fixed point, right?
You're right.
So the console's also a fixed point, but then like they lose it, and then they're trying to find the wall, right? And they put them in a maze, but then the wall of the maze opens, it's the door, and I'm like, wouldn't you just put the wall of the maze right in front of the door so that they're not able to reach it? Yes. Also,
I thought that shot of them opening the door and the maze still being there was one of the best shots of the entire animated series.
Yes. It's very next gen Orville. Yeah. But they fell in a pit. And besides the fact that they should have seen the pit, if the walls are fixed, why isn't the floor fixed? Or did the computer lead them in circles and slowly angle them up long enough until they could put a pit underneath them?
I thought it was actually funny that it set up that trap. And that was one of the funnier things I thought for the Practical Joker.
I hated the trap, but I did like the line, they fell for my joke. You fell for my joke.
Stupid, but I fell for it.
No, I like that. I'm just trying to understand how it actually made a pit if the floor is solid. I don't think they had the rules for this holodeck worked out.
And I believe that's true. And I in my mind, I think a lot of the 70s, 80s novels had the holodeck involved a lot more. Yeah. And this episode, I think, was the springboard, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just associate the holodeck with Next Gen, but there was definitely references to it before then.
Yes.
I mean, I remember reading an original series novel where Kirk's trying out an early version on Earth that's set after this, but he has to wear a backpack to use it.
Yeah.
Which obviously they don't.
Yeah. And, now we've got VR, which I feel like is holodeck.
I mean, you can't touch it.
Right.
Or feel it or smell it.
It's similar.
I mean...
It's a big jump from the Viewmasters, for those of you who had Viewmasters when you're super young.
Yes, it's very cool.
Yeah.
I can't wait for being able to actually interact with the environment instead of just looking.
Yeah.
And clicking on a couple things. I've got a little VR headset for my phone.
Yeah.
Cheapo.
Sure.
And it's very neat.
Right.
But I will say I am surprised that all of Star Trek with all the holodeck stuff, we've only seen Barclay use it for porn.
That doesn't make no sense.
Everybody would be using it for that. I'm sorry, that's just human nature.
Yeah.
I mean, VR goggles, they already have adult activities for that. Yeah, so we need to get on that, scientists. So that you can finally sleep with her at her heyday.
Based on my readings in Playboy magazine, we'll be there soon.
Okay, so I mentioned the line about the falling. There were a few bad lines in this episode.
There were so many double entendres, and
that after this ride I could use some repairs.
I was like, that was a hard stop. I was like, that is awesome, because I immediately was like, that's a double entendre.
Yeah,
and there were so many, and I mean that in a good way. I like.
It was probably.
I don't like puns, but I love double entendres.
Was it very hard for you to not shout "name of my sex tape" every other line?
Yes. Yeah, it was. Yes.
Yeah, that's the only line I said it for. I appreciated that line. I do think some of the other lines were lame.
That was, that line especially, after that ride, I need some repairs, was for the daddies. It was for the adults watching. It was not for the kids.
I'm going to turn it. I think there was one of Shatner's best line readings in a while when he said, "I'm beginning to wonder, Bones. I'm beginning to wonder." He actually had a lot of expression in that line.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad that stood out to me as such a good line reading. It tells you how bad his regular line readings have been.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I liked it a lot.
And we talked about last episode especially that these are all probably recorded separate from each other.
But the lines like that prove he can still do it, so just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes you miss it.
Yeah. The entire Cheers thing when they're all there and they all get...
At lunch.
They had lunch and they all get the liquid on their uniforms. It's like a total anime.
Oh, it was very white.
Yeah, it was just like,
white.
Wow.
I do like the idea though that the bridge crew all goes and has this big elaborate lunch together.
Yeah,
like on a regular basis, even if it's just Wednesdays.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I love the idea that they're having fun, and they were having fun.
My first thought though with the glasses, they were almost like a hollow figure 8 shaped glass. And Sulu was drinking it from the middle, and I'm like, that's not where you drink that. It would spill.
Yeah.
I think you're just holding the glass wrong. Turn it 45 degrees or whatever, 90 degrees, and then you'd be able to drink from it right.
And I know that's a classic practical joke, the glass that has the hole in it or whatever, but...
Well, I don't think that had a hole. It looked to me like it was just weirdly shaped. But if you get a weird shaped glass, you turn it.
I thought that was the whole idea of why it was getting on them, is they
had a hole.
There was Oh,
I didn't think I just thought it was weird shape.
I don't know if you can still buy those in novelty stores, but that used to be the...
Well, clearly in the 23rd century you can, because McCoy's like, we did this at medical school.
That brings me around to something I hadn't thought about just now. Like, do we ever get an explanation for why that cloud is a practical joker?
No.
I guess we don't need one, but...
No. And it makes the Enterprise computer partially sentient, but now it lost its sentience?
I don't get why it takes so long for them to realize something's going on. It seemed like it took...
Well, they kept thinking like it was a crewman doing it, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But what bothered me was how long they took to figure out who was laughing. Like, they're in the corridor, just Kirk and Spock.
Right.
Kirk's like, that laugh sounds familiar.
Of course
and you're like,
does.
Yeah, it's the computer.
Yeah.
There's nobody else in the hallway. I do kind of wish they would have used Riley's laughs, though.
That would have been great.
Because he did the practical jokes.
Yeah.
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 That would have been a good callback.
Yeah. But that said, I liked some of the computer's jokes.
But yeah, who did Kirk think was laughing if it wasn't the computer?
I didn't make sense.
He's just a jerk.
Could he not put
As his shirt says.
I mean, Kirk is a jerk. I did enjoy that. Actually, that was another funny one.
When he said something that happened with his shirt, I was expecting it to be like too small or something to show off skin, but of course it's a Saturday morning cartoon.
Well, and again, maybe it's one of those that it's the this cloud thing is like a child, so it does simple dumb jokes like Kirk is a jerk.
So I really think this practical joke would be a great plot on the Orville. And
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
the shirt joke for this would be it would expose the midriff and have the nipples cut out on the Orville.
Here's something that I'm not sure was a joke or not. Eric's is in command at one point in this episode.
Yes, so
Is that a practical joke?
No, it bothered me a bit because Sulu was on the bridge, and when did Eric's outrank Sulu? I mean, they're both lieutenants, and maybe Eric's was a senior officer from another ship and came in already outranking him, but it bothers me a bit because we rarely get to see Sulu do it,
Yeah.
and Sulu deserved to be there.
Yeah,
and then... Sad. And I guess he outranks Uhura, too.
Yeah.
Or maybe just because he's a male.
Of course, because as we know, gender is binary as well.
Actually, I would think on Eric's planet, just assuming there's 3 genders, right?
That would follow.
That would make sense.
You're right.
Although the Andorians have 4, and they're very bipedal.
But they're so binary, right?
No, there's 4. they're not in couples; they're in quartets. They'll get into that more at another point. But yeah, the Andorians have relationships with 4 people. Yeah.
I know I mentioned this a couple episodes ago. I think it might have been my girl Bryce, but Uhura's skirt was higher than ever for a couple of these shots.
Yeah.
And I know it's animation, so it's like, we don't know where to end it. We just know we wanted to have it high. So, yeah.
You can't curse, but you can show a high skirt.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You can, I guess that's different for America, because usually you can show people getting their heads cut off, but you cannot show a nipple. A woman's nipple.
True.
Woman's nipple.
True.
Let's be specific.
That's very... Unless you're on HBO.
HBO would be glad for you to sponsor us. Something I hadn't thought about in a while, and maybe they didn't do it in the later episodes in season 3, but when Spock, I think it's Spock questioning the computer, and he's like, question, blah, 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 question, blah, blah, blah. I think Destiny's Child stole from Star Trek.
Ah, you're right.
You remember the song for Charlie's Angels?
Absolutely.
Independent Woman. Question, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. That's all I could get in my head. I'm like, they stole that from Star Trek.
You know they were inspired by
They stole it from Star Trek.
She was the first independent woman.
And I do not fault them
show.
because Destiny Child can get away with anything as far as I'm concerned.
The one practical joke that did not work for me, besides the pit, which I have logic issues with, was the device that just shows up on Spock's console.
Yeah.
Like, how did it get to the console? It
Right.
in the replicator.
Yeah. Like,
Did it like trick one of the ensigns into bringing it up?
that's some Catspaw Magics of Magastu kind of stuff.
I mean, my alternate episode, and this would have been really good, is there's some poor ensign having his lunch by himself, and you hear, psst, psst. He's like, what? Psst. Hey,
Yeah.
Mr. Spock wants you to take this up and put it on his console.
Yeah.
And then he goes, really? Yeah, just do it. And then he does.
and then
And then he's still on the bridge when Spock happens.
Yeah.
No, it's replicated with that. He doesn't have to
Oh,
put
okay. He doesn't have to put the...
but he's still on the bridge when it happens, and he looks at Spock and he gets really embarrassed, and he probably like wets himself, and I don't know. It's the whole thing. But I that's my alternate episode.
Do people do that practical joke anymore? Is it... Because I feel like people don't use binoculars that much anymore, right?
No.
I suppose microscopes. I suppose in...
Telescope. In biology labs.
At
it's still prevalent.
Battelle, they're probably... Yeah,
it's probably very much a Battelle.
Battelle, we'd be happy to have you as a sponsor as well.
Absolutely.
This is our asking for sponsors episode.
I also thought the replicator thing was pretty awful, because how does it throw the food
I
out
know,
of it?
and Scotty just stands there.
Well, it was a triple moment, like getting buried in the triple.
I thought they were just going to let it go. I thought that
But
too.
the animation wasn't matching what was happening.
No.
Like, it started to grow,
And
it
then
stopped.
Scotty takes the insane jump of, oh, you guys set this up to do this.
Yeah,
Which-
got all mad at...
He's the main engineer on the ship. He
Maress
of
and
all
Eric's.
people should know how those replicators work.
But I liked that it was Maress and Eric's.
I did like that too. I like that they hang out.
There are a couple names from Rex.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
they hang
yeah.
out. And I don't know if you noticed, they had the same lunch. I don't think we
I did
ever
not notice
see
that.
anybody other than in the original series where they have the cubes.
Right.
We never see people have the same lunch. Everybody always has different lunches.
I did notice that, but I did like those two were at lunch. And the other thing I wanted was for the chef from Charlie X to be like, oh, there's something going on.
Gene Roddenberry's cameo.
Yeah. Turkeys.
Before all that happened, though, Scotty orders grilled cheese on rye. That's a solid lunch order.
Yeah, that is.
It made me
You're
want
right.
grilled cheese on rye.
Me too.
Scotty has good taste in sandwiches. I'm just gonna say.
You're right. That sounds good now. I didn't understand why Scotty was told to shut down the logic function on the computer. That feels like a Spock thing.
Well, probably, but I guess you had to go to the computer room in engineering to do it.
I guess I can see that.
And while Spock does, of course, occasionally run down to engineering and save the ship, as we'll see in Wrath of Khan.
Yes.
In this case, Scotty was already there. So.
That's true. That's true.
Although Scotty was already there in Wrath of Khan too. But I did like the sliding engineering panel that Scotty had to open. Like I was like, oh, I wish we'd seen that live action.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed in that same sequence though, they reversed the gravity. They didn't turn it off. So everybody was sitting or crawling up the ceiling. Yeah. Except Kirk, who was inexorably floating. Whatever, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oh,
he was floating inexplicably as he was talking to Scotty, and nobody else was floating. Everybody else was stuck.
Sounds like a Shatner thing. I like security finally did something. They found where the missing crew members were. They just couldn't get in. Well, actually, no. They got in there. They got them. They did rescue them. They rescued them. I thought that was a nice touch. The red shirts did something.
And none of them died. Well, none of them. I don't think we've had anybody die in the animated series.
Oh, God. I think you're right. Or if they have, it's been off.
Yeah, I don't think we've had.
It's been mentioned, but we had. We had the Ceylon.
Okay. Yeah. Spock's pet.
Yeah.
We have not had any human deaths.
Yeah.
Or sentient.
Or Vulcan or Romulan.
Like intelligent species death.
Yeah, sure. I like the scene where the nitrous oxide is introduced. Because I was going to mention nitrous oxide, and they're like, it's nitrous oxide. But I especially like it because Sulu, Uhura, and McCoy start laughing. And anytime you can hear George Takei laughing, it's awesome.
So, I hated that sequence, and let me tell you why. I hated it because they all took turns laughing.
That's fair. And that's fair.
They should all be laughing together.
I know.
Together. It was like, camera shot this person laughing. Stop. Camera shot this person. You don't hear anybody else laughing in the background.
It wouldn't matter if just Sulu was laughing because it's Takei and he's got that great laugh.
Like, if it was one at a time coming in.
Right.
That's one thing. It made no sense that they were taking turns laughing.
That's a big thing on the animated series, as we've often mentioned and laughed about. When people go for that run, you just see one person at a time. Equidistant from the person behind them.
So that's a, like, saving on animation or whatever to make it easier.
Yeah.
Do they not have the technology in this period to overlap the audio?
I feel like they had to have, yeah.
No, I'm thinking about it, though. Do we ever get anybody talking over anybody? I don't think we do.
Oh, geez, you're right. But they're able to mix it with music, though.
Yeah.
Oh, but that also goes more to the recorded separately kind of thing. But even then... But, you know, like...
Did they think it just sounded really bad because they all recorded exactly 3 seconds and exactly 3 seconds?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe, because, I mean...
But I'm thinking, I don't think we ever get anybody talking over anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about, like, any record album recorded in that era. You know, like Abbey Road was 5 years before this, and all the multi-tracking and everything they did on that. So
but that was expensive.
Yes, yeah. And there's the Beatles and...
Right.
Not...
Yeah, I wonder if it was more expensive for them to multi-track talking audio.
I'm sure it was. I mean, and the music tracks, as we know, they was just...
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it was, but it was all stock, you know.
Yeah.
Because this stuff shows up on Tarzan and every other
Filmation
series. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. I mean, not great. It's terrible, but...
Not all of it, but most of it.
I mean, some of it a lot of it feels very Star Trek to me.
There's a few moments where it's very Star Trek, and those are Star Trek, and there's a lot of it like the... And the I think that's also... That's not Star Trek. I think that's been used on other films.
Yes, but that fits with the Star Trek motif.
It does. And I think there's... I need to look this up. I think there's like an hour of Filmation music out there somewhere on YouTube.
Oh my god. That sounds like a horrible video.
I meant to go find it and listen to it the other day, but I didn't.
Why would you do that to yourself?
I would probably laugh a lot. Like the people in the Practical Joker.
2 or 3 minutes. What are you going to do for the other 58 minutes?
I'll probably be at work listening to it on my phone. And
oh my god. There's so many better things to listen to. Such as, quick plug, Opposing Roles podcast. Look up Opposing Roles. I've personally been binging it this week and really enjoying it.
Oh, well, good.
So I'll definitely text Nick and let him know. But Steven appears on Opposing Roles season 1.
It's a lot of fun.
9 episodes, I believe.
I think you're right. Yeah,
and it is Star Wars.
It is
Star Wars RPG
this time, but down the road it could be a Star Trek. That'd be a lot of fun.
I just wanted to shout out. You guys should go listen to Steven on Opposing Roles.
Thank you.
Subscribe on iTunes. Leave a good review. 5 stars.
Well, thank you. I did enjoy that in an episode called The Practical Joker, they used one of the jokes we've been doing since early on. I think it's the Romulans actually who say they want to reduce the Enterprise to space dust instead of just dust.
Everything's... I do like those. I like the space.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
All I have left is my alternate episode, which would have been appropriate for this period, 1974. Richard Pryor takes over the computer as the Joker.
Oh, that would have been good.
Doing great jokes.
That would have been really good.
This was the year that Blazing Saddles came out that he helped write.
Oh, I love Blazing Saddles.
Or George Carlin, either one.
Yeah.
Carlin would have been more observational humor.
Yeah, I think Pryor would have fit better in the tone of this.
I think for this episode and this era...
Or...
Because Carlin wasn't the great... I mean, Carlin was still funny, but he wasn't the Carlin he was later when he really... hit his stride to me, like in the 80s. He also would have
cursed a bunch, right? 7 words you can't say on television.
Yeah. Well, Richard Pryor would have too. You're right. This is before my least favorite Supreme Court case, FCC versus Pacifica. Actually, it's my least favorite. U.S. versus Gordon is my favorite U.S. Supreme Court case. But I can't say.
This is Stephen's Legal Minute.
I can't say what U.S. v. Gordon's about because this is a non-explicit podcast. So.
Can you describe it in non-explicit terms?
Essentially, a guy had a jacket on that said F the war.
Oh.
In a courthouse, and they tried to arrest him and charge him with that. And they're like, nope, that's protected by the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so... U.S.
As long as you don't wear it on television.
Right, right, yeah.
Any other notes?
That's all I got.
Okay. We didn't talk about the authors of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
This was written by Chuck Menville, and then Len Jansen is uncredited underwriting.
Okay.
They're both credited, or at least on IMDb, they're both listed for Once Upon a Planet.
Oh, okay.
So, same writers. They both wrote a lot of animated stuff, not Star Trek stuff. But I think we talked a little more about them on Once Upon a Planet, so go listen to that episode.
I think so.
And now we get to rank the episode. First let's do men, women, because this one will be easy.
I'm sticking with Fanny Bryce. Randy
Bryce. Can't even remember the name.
I'll go with Fanny Bryce too. It's Barbara Streisand. As played by Barbara Streisand.
If old podcast co-host Amanda was still here, I think she would have picked the Romulan just because he looks so much like Spock.
Yeah, I think so.
But I'm going to stick with Alien Entity. I will not presume to speak for Keith this week. He can answer for himself.
He might go for the computer.
He could. I have the feeling he'll probably stick with Alien Entity. Again, he needs to come back and tell us if he doesn't want Alien Entity.
I'm sure he'll get caught up.
I think he needs to pick it. And then episode, oh God. We got to start lower than last week for sure.
Yeah.
More troubles. Better, worse. I picked that because they're both fun episodes.
I think that's a really good range to start in because I feel like
they're both good for the comedy.
For nostalgia's sakes, I'm going to take it below.
Me too.
Yeah.
I hated More Troubles.
Yeah.
But this one did just... Yeah. At least that one had nostalgia going for you. Mud's Passion is... Because,
Well done. That was a perfect place to start.
I think so too. Thank you.
What's under Mud's Passion?
The Time Trap. The Time Trap is the 12th episode of the animated series. Kirk must cooperate with the distrusting Klingons to escape the sea of dead starships.
Oh,
yeah, that was better.
Yeah, I think it was.
We're down to the ambergris element.
That was the swimming one.
Was that underwater?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I think that was better.
I think so too.
Magics of Megas 2.
That's my hard stop.
That's your hard stop?
Yeah, I thought the elements of this episode were fun, but as a whole, not great.
For me, this is about on par with that.
Yeah.
But if you want to put it above, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with that.
It's very similar. It's very
similar. Yeah. The problems are very similar.
Yes. Yeah.
The problems with it.
Yeah.
We'll see if Keith disagrees with any of those.
Keith might be able to push us one.
Hopefully he'll be back next week.
Yeah.
According to the message I got from him today, he should be back next week.
All right.
The problem with recording 2 in a night, if he misses, is he misses 2 weeks in a row.
There you go.
Sorry to break the magic, people. We recorded this and the other one back to back.
Believe it or not.
Because we're busy and we don't have time to get together every single week. Next week, we only have 3 episodes of the animated series left.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited. We're doing Albatross. McCoy is arrested and charged with causing an alien plague. Okay. I mean, if they ticked him off, I could see him causing an alien plague.
I vaguely recall that one.
I think he might actually be guilty, just basic instinct. Apparently, trivia I just saw for this episode. It contradicts the writer's director's guide for Star Trek: The Original Series, which describes McCoy as having joined Starfleet only in middle-aged after he was divorced. However, this says he was in Starfleet as a young man, which he mentions I feel like
I think it was last in one of our more recent episodes. They said that he'd been with them for 25 years.
He'd been a doctor.
Sorry, you're right.
Years.
That's you're right.
And that was
right.
always my impression of him.
Me too.
Was he was a doctor, but didn't join Starfleet until the divorce.
Yes, which the new Star Trek
also contradicts.
Yeah, because it's
or
does it?
They're not really clear, but it kind of feels like he's recently divorced.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't necessarily contradict. I guess
the Kelvin timeline's stupid anyway. I'm sorry.
That's
I mean, the longer we go since 2009, the less I like those films. Other than, I thought Beyond was really good. Until Beyond, which they finally got it right. In my opinion.
I enjoyed that.
They concentrated on the dynamics.
That would have been a great original series episode.
Well, you brought back the old graphics from the old movies. Mm-hmm. You concentrated on the Spock-McCoy dynamic and the characters, and that's what made that one good.
Good aliens.
Okay, so... Albatross. Until then, live long
and prosper.
Or don't. You had to wait till I finish laughing before you laughed.
Wait.
Sorry. Perfect. Cut, print.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?